Hey guys, my name is Yajur. Thank you so much if you're watching this. You're about to watch the eighth episode of Finterest. I spoke to five amazing people who created an app where the elderly population of Singapore that isn't able to get resources easily can use the app to get them. And it was just an amazing conversation. We spoke about the importance of teamwork, also the benefits as well as the challenges that come with working with friends. And yeah, it was just a really, really, really nice conversation. I hope you enjoyed this episode and the next few of them. You guys did something that was yeah, that was out of yeah, I'm gonna say it's out of the ordinary because most people aren't doing much right now. So yeah, I think the first thing I just instantly want to know is if one of you could essentially talk about your journey from when all of our exams got cancelled, and then from that and cut to 2.5 months later where you guys have done something. Yeah, anyone who wants to go can just talk.
I guess honestly it was pretty sudden for us as well. I mean, the exams got cancelled and everyone, was thinking, oh, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? And of course, everything in Singapore was shutting down, the Singapore Malaysia border closure and everything. We were like, reading articles every day about people, having empty shelves, especially the elderly, right? So I mean, it wasn't anything formal like our meetup. I think we all decided to go for a run one day. And after that, I think we grabbed breakfast and we just talked over some ideas. We were just talking about the entire situation, how COVID, how we expected to get worse, maybe better when we wanted to stop. And yeah, after that, we were discussing like, is there anything we can do, that might help our community? Is there anything, we can do? Can we put a foot forward, help our own community? The main issue right now was we had an idea, we wanted to do something, but we had no clue how we would do it, or how, like what exactly it's going to help in what front. It was one specific article that we read. If someone wants to elaborate on that, we actually Viv, you were mentioning this, like it was all started with one article.
Yeah, right. So there was this poignant image of this old man, and it was in a different country, not in Singapore, but he was surrounded by a bunch of empty shelves, and that image really struck a chord where we saw that this was an issue that was happening globally. And then, as Atisha mentioned, when with the border closure, we saw that it was happening in Singapore itself, and that's when the issue became a lot more pertinent for uh, us, like a bunch of 18-year-olds to come here and say, like, I think we can do something more fruitful with our time than just while it all away. And
yeah, trust me, we were we were spending a lot of time with studying for IB exams, so we were so sad when it ended, just so hurt,
Heartbroken.
yeah, heartbroken. And we were just sitting there, just watching Netflix, for 6 hours straight, and then we thought, hey, let's do something. So we went for a run, and then, as Atisha said, this came out of that, the brainchild of our run.
Okay, so just another thing to add to that, like I think one of our most grueling and like hard part of our journey was getting like again and again and trying again and again and again, because like Vivek mentioned, we messaged a ton of VWOs, we messaged a lot of elderly care centers, we messaged a lot of people, but due to the situation, everyone's kind of focused on like the situation, like they wouldn't give us any kind of attention, which, like, we're not angry about that at all. It makes sense because they wouldn't, like, who would, if you're like the like head of a VWO and you're caring for your like citizens and you're caring for the elderly, like if a bunch like 5 18-year-olds are like, oh, we have an idea, do you want to help us, they would obviously be like, no, we should focus on like our people. So luckily, after like the process of again and again and again and again, we met this one dude whose name is Nigel, who's the head of Goodhood, which is, just for like context, Goodhood is a application which acts like a Facebook type page for help. So anyone can put any post up saying like, oh, I need I need like mice for my work. I need an old computer because work from home. And anyone who's in that area would be like, oh, I have an extra computer at home. I can give it to you. So through this avenue, we helped Nigel make a specific add-on for Goodhood, which is the grocery front. So now Canma is a place where anyone who is in need can order groceries, and this request will be posted onto Goodhood's front, and anyone in the area can read this request and submit their, like, say that, oh, I'll help you, please message me your address or anything like that.
Okay. So in terms of like the process from the idea which happened after the run into like eventually seeing your creation in existence, if we could, well, why don't you elaborate on that? Because that's quite interesting.
I mean, the first thing we realized was that our what we wanted to do was really time sensitive. We were trying to get it out as fast as possible to help as many people as we could. I think this run and the whole ideation it happened in around pretty much the beginning of Circuit Breaker, or just
around March, right?
Or just before Circuit Breaker. Yeah. So, the situation was getting worse. We wanted to get it out as fast as possible. And that's where Goodhood really, really, really helped us. They gave us they allowed us to use their existing platform that they had already built. Okay. So it was, so Goodhood, what I'm trying to say is Goodhood was a really, really important part of our journey here.
Yeah, and just to add to Ron's point, like delving into specifics, I think that, so at the start, after the idea was created, like the business plan was created, where does anyone want to go like delve deep into that? Or no? Okay, great. I'll continue.
If you want to go on.
Oh my God.
One of our members, we wrote up this really long, very detailed business plan because it was like, no, when I say extreme, I meant we really did take it quite seriously, because if we approach an organization, it gives us sense of legitimacy, but also internally it gave us a lot of legitimacy because it gave us kind of clarity in direction. It meant we were all on the same page, quite literally. And when we were writing it up, we had a lot of important discussions about why we were doing this, what we're doing, and where we see this going. That I don't honestly think we might have even thought or in a discussion if we hadn't been quite so literally faced with these topics that require discussion amongst ourselves. So yeah, while our business plan didn't end up kind of being presented to anyone, really, a lot of the talking points from the business plan were things that we use, and it gave us a much easier time when we were trying to talk with people like Nigel. We had a few Zoom meetings with him as kind of Canva was being created, because it was an ongoing process.
Yeah, and especially that business plan, along with the research that we conducted, I feel like those were probably the two main building blocks for ironing out the flow of how it's actually going to work to try to executing that idea, right? To creating those screen mock-ups to make it as accessible as possible for that target audience that we outlined in the business plan, as well as getting those inputs from those organizations that Logan just mentioned.
More than anything, that business plan helped us gain clarity over what we need to look out for. For example, a big issue was the legal aspect of the app. That's why we talked to a few lawyers, asking, okay, are some of the things we're doing in line with the law? Are we allowed to do this? And of course, like we've said, the screen flow, screen design, all of that was a huge part. And we wouldn't have realized all of this. I mean, of course, development is a big part, but we wouldn't have known the specifics unless we didn't have a very elaborate business plan. And yeah, that was actually, I would say, our saving grace for most of the responses, most of the questions that we got from a lot of organizations when we contacted them.
Yeah, it definitely was like the only piece of legitimate evidence that we had that we were serious about this. was like that official Canva document business plan, good old document that we shared to all these organizations.
Yeah.
And that was really the place where we got to fine tune those logistical aspects of how we're going to execute this.
Logistics.
Yeah. So coming from so our first step was making that business plan, and after that it was doing the surveys, because we needed to find because any idea you need to see if there's support for that idea. So that's when we created two surveys, one for consumers and suppliers. So one was for the people who would be asking for goods, and one was people who would be delivering those goods. And after that, we got quite a lot of responses from that. So first things we did was mock up designs, which I think we all got on call, and the first design we made, we got so proud of it. We were like, oh my God, this is so sick. And then after that, after making all the designs, we started actually talking with Goodhood on the specifics about code and different things we would need. And after that, now we're just trying to make it improve it, make it better, and just make it the best we can.
I would say the local Singaporeans, or the people the vulnerable, or the needy, essentially, they're the ones that we really need the responses from. And I would say if we're putting a number on it, I would say a good number would be around 400 or 500 responses that are not from an inner circle. I mean, that's just to assess demand, not even what in specific you need. Just to know if there's a need for your app, you need a good 200 to 300 responses, and probably 500 if you're looking at suitable, accurate results.
Yeah, I'd say the most important thing when you're looking at survey responses is to first identify what your target market is, who you're appealing to. Once you've decided that, you can actually see how big that population is, and take a small percentage of it, take a small sample size from it, and survey those people. So that's what we tried to do essentially. Yeah.
A bit of a funny incident happened where we sent the survey on Reddit, and the responses were scathing. I kid you not. People were like, "What is the survey? Who are you? Why are you asking us about this? What backing do you have?" And that's when we realized that we have no backing at this point. At that point, even now, got a backing here and there, but
and that's why it just goes to show the importance of having an established name. If no one knows you, no one trusts you. And if no one trusts you, no one's going to give you any response. No one's going to humor you. And that's similar to what happened with us when we contacted most of the organizations.
Thank you so much if you watched that whole episode. I am still without a place where I can put a camera. If you did enjoy it, please do subscribe if you can. It means a lot. I'm trying to get to 200 subscribers by September 30th, which is my birthday. So yeah, if you can help me do so, I'd love it. Thank you so much, and see you soon.